Hello there once again. I'm Fleur and I will be giving you the 6th module of this BricsCAD BIM basic training, which is components. So components is everything it's a group name for everything which is an element that you insert into the basic geometry of your building, which is your slabs and your walls. So you can either insert windows or doors or curtain walls, stairs, furniture, anything which you might need, you can insert into a BIM project. And we call it in BricsCAD components. So let us go to these components module and let me tell you what you will learn in this video. So in this video, we will cover the basic components that BricsCAD BIM has to offer and which you can use in your BIM model. It showcases mainly how to insert them from the library. We have more specific methods that we can use, more specific tools that are allowing you to create these components from scratch or create custom ones. But this will be covered in another training. For now, we will focus on how to insert them from the library, where you can find them, what you can do with them. And you can always add, of course, extra components that I don't add during this video. You can add extra components in your design as you feel fit. So just explore the library panel mainly, explore components in BricsCAD BIM, and let us dive in. Okay, let's dive in. In this section, we will explore the library panel, insert a window from the library, and edit the window to fit our design. First of all, let's open a new drawing and explore the library panel. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that it contains several categories, such as windows and doors with 3D components. If it is not, you can always press the 3 dots in the right corner and make sure that the BricsCAD BIM library is switched on. There is also a BricsCAD 2D library and BricsCAD mechanical library delivered with the product. These contain 3D components used in mechanical designs, such as standard parts and sheet metal features, and 2D blocks used in various 2D drafting applications. The content of the BricsCAD BIM library, mechanical library, and 2D library are saved in the program files from BricsCAD, and there you will find the respective subfolders: BIM components, design library, and blocks 2D. You can just find the path specified in the training manual if you want to access the source data of this library. However, when creating custom components, these will be saved under the following path, which is specified in the Manage Libraries under the 3 dots, which is Program Data BricsCAD Components, or when you call the components path variable, you will also see this same variable. That's where your user library is stored. So if you create with the blue plus button a new element, a new component, then it will be stored under in that file location, folder location. Okay, so left-clicking a category will open it, such as the Windows category, and left-clicking on a certain component name will insert that component. If we launch it, we see that the BM insert command is launched with the correct file path already selected. However, if you want to insert a component that's not in your library but somewhere else on your computer, you can manually call BM insert. And then you will be able to insert the component from by navigating through your machine. So let's open the starter file. And we see here a building which is just existing out of walls and slabs. We now want to make sure that the dynamic UCS is certainly turned on in our status bar. And in the library panel, we can browse to the Windows category and select the window 1 on 1. Then we get a few dimensions, which are the nearest dimensions to the entity in which it's inserted, the edges of that entity. And we can change those values by typing in a certain value and then hitting tab to go to the next dimension. You also see that automatically the properties panel was opened, where we can change the width and the height or any other parameter that is listed there. And as soon as you do that, you can still see that the value is locked when I have pressed tab, because at this moment I can now change the upper dimension. And then as such, I can cycle between the dimensions. If I press Control, it allows me to edit the dimensions of the window itself instead of the position of the element. If I hit Control once, we are again enter positioning dimensions. So we can enter if we are happy with the location. And note that if you are pleased with these parameters here, we can always insert the same component, again with BM insert, but this time from the quad. And then it will insert the element with the same parameters applied as the one we launched the command on. So you can easily duplicate a window like this. Also, when you want to edit an existing window, you just select it, go to the properties panel, and at the bottom you will find parameters. You will also find some IFC properties, of course. And there you can change some values such as the lining thickness. If I exaggerate it here, you see a very thick frame. So you can add as many windows as you see fit for this design. And the same we can do with doors. So to do that, we continue in this model and we just make a section so that we can see one of the walls cut through. Again, from the library panel, we this time navigate to the doors. I press the home button to return to the home screen. And then we choose one of the doors. And we can then insert it in the same way, but in this case, again, make sure your dynamic UCS is on. And you don't want to snap to a certain point, so either turn eSnap off, or you can maybe type in some dynamic dimensions, such as here, 2500 from the side. Then I cycle, and I make sure that from the bottom I select 0, and then it's certainly at the right location. And then we press enter to accept it. The door displays a swing line, as you can see. To change that, we have the BIM flip command. BIM flip allows you to change it from left to right or from in to out. And that's all you need to know for doors. Also note that here we just cover all the components through the library, but we also have some dedicated tools that will be addressed in future trainings. The same step as for the regular windows, we also have curtain walls, which you can insert from the library. Here I selected a 2x2 window, and I made sure that I replicated it a few times. And then you can change the scaling so that it becomes a distinct pattern, and then you can insert it, but this type of curtain wall has to be inserted into an entity that acts as a host entity, just like you insert a regular window. If you don't want that, we have the curtain wall tool, which we will explain in a later training. Then again, you can customize all the properties in the or the parameters in the properties panel. And if you want the same as in the manual, you can see the values there. Also, we can insert stairs from the library. Well, we already have some stairs here, but just let's assume there is a need for another stair. Then we can again go to the library, this time to the buildings, and then there's staircase, so we insert the stairs. You can, before you accept the placement, you can still rotate the element by typing R, and then the value of the rotation. And then you can place it somewhere. A hole will be made because of the subtractor solid. Now this stair from the library is parametric, but other than that, it didn't really read the story height that we have. So for a better approach to stairs, we refer to the following trainings where we will cover the BIM stair tool, which you find here. And you can do the same for the furnishing category, just add some chairs and such. You just place it by clicking in your drawing. Then we can also customize a library object. So for example, if I want to make this higher backing of the stair of the chair, then you can also do BM open a copy. So BM open copy command. Then you will see the chair, and you will be able to change it. For example, we can make a hole in the back of the chair. And then as soon as you're happy with your new design, you can actually save it in the library. You can click the blue plus button, and then you can select the entire drawing, give it a name, such as a new chair. Then you will see that indeed it gets saved in the path which we specified before. And then you can create it. And as soon as you did that, you will now have a new chair in the category where you saved it. If the component is not displayed right away, you can always click the Generate Thumbnail option to regenerate the thumbnail. And like this, any component can be inserted into a drawing, like on the same way as we did before. So this was the module about components. We saw how to insert components from the library, such as windows, doors, curtain walls, etc. We also saw how to modify these components a little bit. And if you want to know more about components or specific ways, specific tools in BricsCAD to model components, make sure to check out the next training.